Hello everyone. Today I will be teaching you how to make these face masks. These face masks have an opening here to add a filter for extra protection, and they also have ties. I'll also be showing you how to make these ties. So let's get started. Okay, you are going to start with one piece of cotton fabric. Make sure it's 100% cotton, and it is 8 inches by 14 inches. You're going to take your cotton fabric and you're going to fold it in half, right sides together, or pretty sides together. Fold it in half lengthwise. Now take it to the machine, and we are gonna pin it. You don't have to pin it, but we'll go ahead and pin it just to show you. You need to leave a 3-inch opening at the bottom. So we'll start pinning right about here. And I'm just gonna place a couple pins on the sides. And then we'll go to the other side and place a couple pins. All right, now go ahead and align the fabric so the fabric is up against or aligned with your sewing foot. Now go ahead and sew, and make sure you take a back stitch at the beginning. Sew all the way to the corner, keeping the fabric aligned with the foot. Oh, and you might want to set it so that the needle stops down. Turn your corner and then sew on that side. Make sure you take out your pins. Do not sew over your pins. That could really mess up your machine. And then once you get to the end, you're going to go ahead and take a couple back stitches, needle up, cut that one, and then go ahead and start on your other side. And we're going to do the same exact thing. Do a back stitch, turn at the corner, and the whole time the fabric is aligned with the foot. And at the end, take a couple more back stitches. Whoops. And you're done with this part. Now make sure you've got that 3-inch opening at the bottom. If you want, you can go ahead and cut the fabric at the corners to kind of remove some of the bulk when you turn it inside out. Okay, now all you need to do is turn this inside out. And this is a good time to get your wooden stiletto or any stiletto. Put that inside. Whoops, you don't want to do that. I just kind of poked right through that, but that's okay because it's going to be covered. So yeah, you're going to gently poke out those corners. There, and all 4. And now, once that's done, we are going to take this to the iron, and we're going to iron this nice and flat, and we're going to create our folds for the mask. Now we're going to iron the face mask, and here we have creases, and what I like to do at the seam is just iron that this way, and then go back to the seam, and it creates a nice flat seam. Do the same for this side. Otherwise you get a little crease in there. Now you notice there is the opening here. So what you want to do is make sure the opening's folded in, and you're just going to press that flat. Okay? Now we're going to iron or fold this into thirds this way, and then you're going to press that. And then you're going to open it up and turn it over, and then this is where you're going to create your pleats for the mask. So you're just creating the pleats where those creases are that you made. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement, but the width of your mask right here should be about 3.5 inches. And once you do that, you go ahead and pin these in place. And then we are going to take it back to the sewing machine. Okay, now we're going to sew the pleats together. And what you're going to do is line up the fabric under the foot so that the fabric is lined up right against this toe here. So you're just going to see it next to this right toe. And go ahead and secure your stitching. Okay, we're going to remove this pin. I'm just going to hold these pleats in place. And it's pretty thick, so you might need to move the fabric a little bit as you go. Alright, and then secure it at the end. Lift up your needle, and that's your first side. Go to the second side. And this time you are going to line up the fabric with the left toe right here. Take out your pin and just make sure you hold the pleats in place. And if your fabric gets caught, it's so thick going through there, you can just lift up your foot and move it forward a teeny bit. At the end, lift your needle and your foot, and you are done securing the pleats. Okay, now we're going to make the bias tape. This is what it will look like when you're done making bias tape. And what you will need is a bias tape maker. It looks like this. The one we're using today is yellow. It has this yellow coating here. There's different colors. This one makes a 1/2 inch bias tape. And they're really easy to use. It's very inexpensive. There's lots of tutorials out there on how to use it, but it's super easy. If you don't feel like making your own, you could go out and buy bias tape. And these are very inexpensive also. So once you have your bias tape ironed and put through the bias tape maker, you will go ahead to your sewing machine, and you'll definitely need your stiletto for this part. You're going to put the fabric folded under the foot, about a good inch, just so the feed dog catches it. And you want to place it so the bias tape is right in the middle of your foot. The foot I'm using is the #1 standard foot that comes with the machine. It's a basic sewing machine foot. And this 1/2 inch bias tape fits nicely right in the center of this foot. So we'll go ahead and get started, and you'll remember to have your needle stop down and secure your stitching. And there you go. And you'll use your wood stiletto to kind of guide the fabric. And then every few inches you're going to kind of fold it over. Make sure it's still aligned in the middle of the foot. And you just keep going. Oh, I forgot to mention the length of this tape is about, or for the fabric, is about 40 to 42 inches. So you need your tie to be 40 to 42 inches, which is the same number of inches as a width of fabric. Now we're almost to the end here. If you wanted to pin this so that it's folded over and then you take the pins out as you sew, you could do that too. But it doesn't have to be exact, so I'm fine just folding it over as I go. And once you get to the end, go ahead and make sure you do a back stitch. Needle up. And then one more thing we need to do, just to make sure it doesn't come undone, is you can stitch your ends perpendicular to the stitch you just did. Let's do the other end. And you're going to go ahead and make 2 of these ties. And we're almost done. We're going to attach this to the mask. All right, now we have the ties finished. You're going to go ahead and fold them in half. Fold both ties in half. Now I have these Wonder Clips. They're really nice to use as an alternative to pins. But you can use pins if you don't have Wonder Clips. But I'm going to clip it right at the halfway point. Set one tie aside and take the other tie, and we're going to clip that kind of in the middle, somewhere around in the middle of the mask here. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to put it on this side. I like it over here better. All right, now put that under the machine. And you're going to start stitching the tie onto the mask. So real easy. Just start at the top, kind of stitch in the middle of the tie, secure it, and keep going. Now sometimes it does get stuck because it's so thick. So you can go ahead and put your needle up, lift up your foot, and just barely move your fabric forward. Put your foot back down, needle down, and try again. There you go. Take this out and keep going. Now it is so thick, you might have to help your fabric along until you get over those pleats. When you get to the end, go ahead and back stitch and cut your threads. There's your first side. Okay, let's go ahead and do the other side the same exact way. This is the part I always seem to get stuck on, trying to get over this first pleat. Alright, there we go. side is done. Now that your mask is done, go ahead and try it on. And now you are ready to go shopping once we get into phase 1. And remember, you have an opening at the bottom here for adding a filter. You can add a coffee filter, or you can add a blue shop towel. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please share it with others, and happy sewing!